So today we will continue with our exploration from the previous time on this profound topic on planes of being and consciousness in integral yoga. And here I would like also to bring to your attention something which is from the Veda and from Upanishads. And I want to make a link between Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga and the Veda, and especially Taittiriya Upanishad. So in the Taittiriya, as we know, the vision is of this kind, that we have several bodies, body within the body. The physical body is the last one. I can make it this way that you can see better. So the physical body is the smallest, it seems. Behind it there is a bigger vital body which connects our vitality to the bigger vital body around us. And beyond or within it there is the mental body, which is even vaster than vital. It encompasses the whole cosmos, but in the around our physical it has a specific shape, or it belongs to this physical manifestation, to this focus. We will speak on a physical body more at the end. And then beyond there is the causal body, Vijnanamaya Purusha. And beyond there is a transcendental Anandamaya Purusha. So this is the vision of Taittiriya Upanishad, which Sri Aurobindo accepted as his major vision. And somewhere in the letters he says that I didn't invent anything new. I don't speak something which was not there. It's already there in the Taittiriya. There is a beautiful story in Taittiriya, and I would like maybe to start with that story, if you don't mind. I will read from the text and translate to you immediately, because it's a profound and beautiful text. So there is a third chapter of Taittiriya which is dedicated to Bhrigu. Bhrigu was a great rishi, and his father was Varuna, the god, the lord of the divine being. So Bhrigu comes to him, Bhrigur vai Varunihi. He is the son of Varuna. Varunam pitaram upasasara. He approaches Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti. Teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman, the knowledge of Brahman, of the spirit. Tasma etat provacha. And he told him this. Annam pranam chakshuh shrotram mano vacham iti. Brahman is matter, prana, chakshuh, vision, shrotram, hearing, manas, mind, vacham, speech. Tagamoho vacha. And he told him this. Yato va imani bhutani jayante. From where all these beings come into existence. Yena jatani jivanti. By what all these beings live. Yat prayanti, in what they go. Abhisam vishanti, and disappear. Tad vijnasasva, recognize that. Tad brahmeti, that is Brahman. Satapo tapyata, and he flamed in tapas. Satapas taptva, and having flamed in tapas, annam brahmeti vyajanat. He recognized that Brahman is matter. It's a first recognition of Bhrigu. Annadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante. Because all beings are born from matter. Annena jatani jivanti. By matter they live. Annam prayanti. Into matter they go after death. Tad vijnaya, having realized that, Punareva Varunam Pitaram Upasasara. He again approached his father Varuna. Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmeti. Teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. It's quite unusual. First he realized that everything is born from matter, lives by matter, and goes into matter, And now he approaches him again. Teach me about Brahman again. He didn't stop on that level. As Western mind stopped at that level, that Annam is everything, material being, physical being is all what we have. Somehow he felt that there must be something more. And he comes again to his father to ask. Tagam hovacha, and he told him, Tapasa Brahma vijijñasasva. Realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo Brahmeti. Brahman is tapas. Satapo tapyata. Satapas taptva. And he flamed in tapas. And having flamed in tapas, prano Brahmeti vyajanat. He realized that Brahman is prana, life energy. Pranadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante. Because from prana all the beings are being born. Pranena jatani jivanti. By prana all beings live. Pranam abhisam prayanti abhisam vishanti. And into prana they go after death. Tad vijñaya, having realized that. Punareva pitaram Varunam pitaram upasasara. Again he approaches his father Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti. Teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. Tagam hovacha. And he told him, Tapasa Brahma vijijñasasva. Realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo brahmeti. Because Brahman is tapas. Satapo tapyata. And he flamed in tapas. Satapas taptva. Having flamed in tapas, mano brahmeti vyajanat. He realized that Brahman is mind. Manaso hyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante. From the mind, all beings are being born. Manasa jatani jivanti. By the mind, they all live. Manach prayanti abhisam vishanti. Into the mind they go after death. Tad vijñaya, having realized that, punareva varunam pitaram upasasara. Again he approached his father Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti. Teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. Tagam hovacha. And he told him, Tapasa Brahma vijijñasasva. Realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo brahmeti. Brahman is tapas. Satapo tapyata. And he flamed in tapas. Satapas taptva. And having flamed in tapas, vijñanam brahmeti vyajanat. He realized that Brahman is vijñana, the supermind. Vijñana dhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante. Because from the supermind all the beings are being born. Vijñanena jatani jivanti. By vijñana, being born, they live. Vijñanam prayanti. And into vijñana they go. Abhisam vishanti, and disappear. Tad vijñaya, having realized that, punareva varunam pitaram upasasara. Again he approached his father Varuna. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti. Teach me, O blissful Lord, about Brahman. Tagam hovacha. And he told him, Tapasa Brahma vijijñasasva. Realize Brahman by tapas. Tapo brahmeti. Because Brahman is tapas. Satapo tapyata. And he flamed in tapas. Satapas taptva. Having flamed in tapas. Anando brahmeti vyajanat. He realized that Brahman is Ananda, bliss. Anandat Eva Khalvimani Bhutani Jayante. Because from bliss all these beings are being born. Anandena Jatani Jivanti. And by bliss being born they live. Anandam Prayanti. Into bliss they go after death. Abhisam Vishanti. Saisha Bhargavi Varuni Vidya. This is the greatest knowledge of Bhrigu, son of Varuna. He didn't come again to ask. He found Ananda as the spirit. All these beings are born from bliss. By bliss they live, and into the bliss they go. Here we have 5 levels, all of them, one by one. The beautiful thing about the story, he every time comes to his father and hears the same initiation to learn to discover it by tapas, by concentration of consciousness. It's only by concentration of consciousness that he can realize that. There is no other way. Brahman can be known only by the means of Brahman. It cannot be known by other means. Beautiful story. I'm coming back to our presentation. So last time I was showing you this picture, if you remember. Brahman, Sat, Chit, Ananda, Vijnana, Manas, Prana, and Annam. So Bhrigu went through all these levels, Anna, Prana, Manas, Vijnana, and Ananda, and he didn't go any more further. He stopped with Ananda level. He didn't go into Chit, consciousness, and Sat, existence. It was a bit a puzzle for me always why he didn't move further, but there is an explanation, because Satchit Ananda is one being. Once Ananda is realized, then the Sat, the being, and consciousness are immediately there, inherent in it. They are present in that Ananda. So there is nothing more to realize. It is there, a part of it. And on each level there is a self, Atman. Atman and Brahman, their relations are quite interesting. Brahman is the spirit, as we know, the existence, consciousness, bliss, and Atman is the one who is existent, conscious, blissful. The one who perceives that he is conscious, blissful, and existent. There is a focal point of consciousness within the being. So to say, when Brahman is self-aware, he becomes Atman. If Brahman is not self-aware, he is Brahman. He is that being, but not existent. The moment he becomes aware of himself, he becomes existent. That is their relations. And they are expressed in this way: Sat Purusha, divine self; Chaitanya Purusha, the all-conscious soul; Anandamaya Purusha, all blissful soul; Vijnanamaya Purusha, the great soul; Manomaya Purusha, mental being; Pranamaya Purusha, vital being; Annamaya Purusha, physical being. You can see the gradation from the higher to the lower to the darkest being. And this dark Annamaya Purusha, or that physical being, is the least conscious of the self. The higher we go, the more consciousness we gain. The lower we go, the more power we gain, but less consciousness is available within the physicality per se. Sri Aurobindo describes this in a very beautiful manner. I do not know whether you see it, but I will read to you all these levels, how they are being unfolded. Atman, the self, represents itself differently in the sevenfold movement of nature according to the dominant principle of the consciousness in the individual being. In the physical consciousness, Atman becomes the material being, Annamaya Purusha. In the vital or nervous consciousness, Atman becomes the vital or dynamic being, Pranamaya Purusha. In the mental consciousness, Atman becomes the mental being, Manomaya Purusha. In the supra-intellectual consciousness dominated by the truth or causal idea called in the Veda Satyam Ritam Brihad, the true, the right, the vast, Atman becomes the ideal being or great soul, Vijnanamaya Purusha, or Mahat Atman. In the consciousness proper to the universal beatitude, Atman becomes the all-blissful being, or all-enjoying and all-productive soul, Anandamaya Purusha. This is the source of our soul, the psychic being which we mentioned the last time. It is this Anandamaya Purusha. In the consciousness proper to the infinite divine self-awareness, which is also the infinite all-effective will, Chit Tapas. Chit is consciousness, Tapas is force. Atman is the all-conscious soul that is source and lord of the universe, Chaitanya Purusha. Now notice how he changes his diction. Atman becomes Annamaya Purusha, Atman becomes Pranamaya Purusha, Atman becomes Manomaya Purusha, Atman becomes Vijnanamaya Purusha, Atman becomes Anandamaya Purusha. But Atman is Chaitanya Purusha. Atman is, in the consciousness proper to the state, to the pure divine existence, Atman is Satpurusha, does not become any. It is. No more becoming, only being. So this Chaitanya and Satpurusha, you cannot become. You can only be. That's why Bhrigu didn't ask for more after Ananda. He couldn't become. He was already there. He was Chaitanya, he was Sat, by becoming Ananda, Maya Purusha. And this is quite amazing. And now he adds to it, look at this. Man, being one with his true self, with the Lord who inhabits all forms, can live in any of these states of the self in the world and partake of its experiences. He can be anything he wills, from the material to the all-blissful being. Through the Anandamaya, he can enter into the Chaitanya and Satpurusha. This is a fundamental gradation for us to understand the evolution of consciousness. Since today we have to look into the evolutionary part, we have to see what was unfolded and what is inherent within the matter. All the highest, supreme self is inherent within the matter, and now it unfolds. First was the prana, the pranic level, of life level, the greenery, the animal kingdom. Then there is a new being emerging, man, mental being, who has free will, who can decide what to do in spite of his pull for nature, he can go against himself. He has a will to decide things in contradiction to nature, to his own nature. No animal can do this. Animals do not do these things. Also, the greenery doesn't do this thing. The trees and everybody follows their own nature. But man is contradicting his own nature because he has a mental will. It's a new capacity. And this will can be used for something higher or something lower. And we can see it, how it is being misused. And then there is a new power emerging. the Vijnanamaya, the supermind, much higher than mental being. There is a new development of consciousness which is arising from within. And this is the cause of all our miseries, because there is a resistance of nature. And resistance is, uprising from the depth of inconscient, wants to come to that light, wants to become that or to resist to become that. Either or. It will fight it till the end. And then, of course, the light will win, but there will be many turmoils. And we are in the midst of that time, of these turmoils, of changes. So I want to introduce also the Vedic paradigm, and I'm sure you will enjoy it, because it will explain to you what is this physical being about. So I will start with this. In the Veda, the faculties of consciousness are seen as projected from the Divine Mother, Aditi, infinite consciousness force. The supreme emanations of that consciousness force are called Adityas, the sons of Aditi. Maybe you heard this name, Aditya. Aditya is the name of the sun. And Sri Aurobindo speaks about the forms of the sun being behind this lid. There are several forms, 7 in fact, and these are 7 Adityas. We see only the disk, the surface of the sun, but within there are living forms greater than the disk. There are 7 of them: Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, Daksha, Amsha, and Surya. For some, it will be, and kind of for Indians especially, it would be a known. These are known names. These are great names of the Godheads. Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, Daksha, Amsha, and Surya. So Aditi, the Divine Mother, projects herself within these Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, Daksha, Amsha, and Surya, one by one. First is Varuna, the divine being. The next is Mitra, the divine consciousness. The third is Aryaman, the divine force, power. The fourth is Bhaga, the divine bliss. But you notice that without being there can be no consciousness, because consciousness is the property of the being. Being is conscious of itself through consciousness. That's Varuna is first, that's why Mitra is second. And Aryaman, the fourth, is the third, because consciousness, perceiving being, generates power. The power of the being is being the result of consciousness perceiving being in a particular way. And that leads to the emanation of bliss. Bliss is the result of the perception or the consciousness perceiving the being. More we are conscious, more we are blissful. Less we are conscious, less we are blissful. And then there is a projection into supermind, triple supermind, Daksha, Amsha, and Surya. And I will speak about them more in a minute. And then there was the 8th son of Aditi. These are 7 sons of Aditi, and there was born a new 8th son. And he was born ugly, without limbs. He was called Martanda, the dead embryo. And when mother saw him with her 7 sons, Aditi, she left him to be alone. He was left to be alone. And his name is Vivasvat, the luminous being. And then he broke through and manifested the universe. This is the creator. Does it remind you someone? Lucifer, the fallen being, the most luminous one, who was the creator of the universe, who didn't know his origin, who didn't know his mother, he didn't know his father. He was left alone to create and manifest. This is the mystery of our universe. There are other myths which are explaining the same thing, that the sun was dragged down by the titans and put into the subconscious cave in the darkness. This is this Lucifer, this Vivasvat, who is within the inconscient being. The light, the greatest light, the supreme light is hidden within the darkness. How could we speak about it? Only in terms of the myth. There is no way. Nobody was there at that time. Yes? Nobody has this direct evidence. So the myth, the symbol, is here to explain this event of manifestation in the darkness. So the four transcendental godheads. Varuna represents the vastness of infinite being, Sat. Mitra represents luminosity and harmony of consciousness, Chit. These are the quotations from Sri Aurobindo. Aryaman, the power of the divine tapas. Bhaga, the bliss of the divine fulfillment. Ananda, bliss. The three godheads of the supermind. Daksha represents the power of thought, all discerning and all distributing power of supramental consciousness. This is the definition of Sri Aurobindo. Amsha represents the diversity of oneness supported by the unifying power of Daksha. Surya, or Savitar, represents the seven Adityas and projects them into the lower creation. His rays represent the diversity in the domains of Svar. We will come in a minute to it. So if I come back to this vision of seven suns, all of them, if Surya represents all seven, all six before. Surya is the result of previous Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, Daksha and Amsha. Surya would not be there if those brothers within him would not manifest him as a surface. And Surya manifests this Vivasvat, hidden light within the darkness. In the Veda, they speak about two sources of light, two Suryas. One is transcendental, beyond, above, and other is involved in the darkness. They speak it in that way because we can't understand it otherwise. But it is one and the same Surya. Only it is perceived from above or it is perceived from below. We are as if within the Surya. The whole manifestation, the whole cosmos is born within the divine, not without the divine. And about this Krishna speaks in the Gita. And he tells Arjuna, it's difficult to explain, but it's actually not I am in the world, but the world is within me. And Arjuna cannot understand that statement. How can it be that this universe is within Krishna? But it is exactly this difficulty to understand that the light is within the darkness and above it. So the darkness is in between. You remember that quotation that which was from the last presentation, yes? That the night is not our beginning and not our end. We come to her from the supernal light. By light we live, and to the light we go. Night is not our beginning, nor our end. It's our passage. It's something in between light and light. We are packed within the light. And there's something happening here. Some manifestation is taking place in time and space. So I'm coming back to this vision. Seven sons of Aditya. Again, Varuna, Sat, Mitra, Chit, Aryaman, Tapas, power, Bhaga, Ananda, Daksha, supramental knowledge force, Amsha, supramental many in one and one in many, Amsha means literally portion. And portion is a part of the bigger picture, and also it is separated from the bigger picture, from the oneness. It is both in one concept, portion. Supramental, many in one, and one in many. And Surya Savitri, supramental manifestation. Now, Aditi with her 7 sons projects through Vivasvat all her, within Vivasvat they are inbuilt, and they are all unfolded in the lower creation. You can see the shadow of them. Varuna is not only the highest light, but the deepest material in conscience. Not the highest being, but all the being throughout, to the deepest in conscience. Mitra is not only the light of consciousness, it is also the light of the darkness of inconscient, and so on. Aryaman is not only the greatest force of the divine, but the deepest weakness, the energy which lost its consciousness. This power without any direction, or how Sri Aurobindo is saying about it, this is the blind energy. This is the definition. Blind energy. Bhaga, the divine bliss, is turned into the deepest suffering, pain. We can speak about this pain. Sri Aurobindo has a beautiful exposition to it. What is this pain about in Savitri? Daksha turned to be, the oneness turned to be the separateness of the overmental realms. Amsha, the division of every soul which is one with the oneness, becomes separate being. And Vivasvat itself is the hidden light within the darkness. And these are the children of deity. So Aditi is infinite consciousness, mother of infinity. And deity is the mother of separated consciousness, division. And the beings who are born on this side, in the darkness, they are called Daityas or Danavas. Daityas from deity, they are sons of deity. The Asuras, Rakshasas, Vaishachas, and so on. There are many classifications of darker beings which are trying to separate our consciousness and live by that separation. Selfishness, feeding on each other, holding each other as a food for themselves. This is the law of the lower being, of the darkness. So, Surya Savitri, the Lord of creation, his rays, you can imagine the sun shining out, his rays of the sun thus build up the luminous planes called in the Veda Svar, the planes of the rays of the sun. Not the body of the sun, but the rays of the sun. It is for the first time the body meets the darkness. The darkness pervades the light, and the rays penetrate the darkness, leaving into the separated consciousness. Each ray is now separating from another ray. We are no more one light. We are separated rays of light. It has 3 luminous realms, called in the Veda Trirochana, 3 luminous shining realms, which thus project the higher 3 realms of cosmic mind, called Tisro Dyavach, 3 heavens, sustaining the 3 spaces of the vital realm, which are called Trini Rajansi, 3 luminous or shining realms. Now look at this. Trirochana, 3 shining realms, Tisro Dyavach, 3 shining realms, Trini Rajansi, 3 flaming shining realms. All of them have something to do with luminosity. All of them. 3, 3, 3. And then 3 bhumis. Tisro bhumich. 3 earths. 3 mental, 3 physical realms. Now I will build the scheme which is important for us to look at. if we look at this scheme, we will see that supermind, with his triple status, as Sri Aurobindo describes this, Daksha is unity, the Amsha is diversity, or one in many and many in one, and the Surya itself is the divine manifestation or the supramental manifestation, where the rays are becoming the manifestation as many. So we have unity, one in many, many in one, and diversity within the supermind inbuilt, within Vijnana, which are projecting, and this is the projection of this diversity into three luminous realms, Trirochanas, which in their way project the triple three worlds. The mental world is triple, the vital world is triple, and the physical world is triple. They are all 3 times 3, 9 worlds. Amazing. We have 3 mental realms, we have 3 vital realms, and we have 3 physical realms. What does it remind you, actually? How come 3 mental realms? Vital. Okay, let us start with vital. What are these 3 vital realms? They are within us. Superego. Right. Yeah, in a way, there is ego there that is vital, proper. Look at this beautiful vision. There is mental mind, vital mind, physical mind. There is mental vital, physical vital. There is mental physical, vital physical, physical. It's a holographic inbuilt. Everything is within everything. 3 times 3. It reminds you of something, no? I immediately saw the chakras. The chakras. If you look at the mental, physical, this is the Kundalini, and then physical, vital is Svadhisthana, then vital is Manipura, which is separating the worlds. We will speak about this. It's the middle Antariksha, which splits mental and vital and the physical being. Then there is vital, the mental vital, which is Anahata, the heart, the emotional being. Then there is physical mind, which is expressed by Vishuddha, which is in the throat. And then there is the vital mind, which is the third eye. And there is the mental mind, which is Sahasrara chakra. There are 2 chakras below. On the levels of the knees, there is this vital physical, and there is proper physical below the feet, Mother says, above these 2 chakras, which are not mentioned in Tantra, because they are totally beyond our reach. We cannot go there. There is no consciousness reaching down there. The deepest the lowest we can reach is Kundalini. We cannot go below that. And there are 3 chakras, she says, above the Sahasrara. And these are Trirochanas. There is the intuitive mind, to which we will come in a minute. There is the overmind, which is above it, Vishnu's realm. And there is the supramental overmind, the highest chakra. There are 12 chakras in the body. 12. Not 6, not 7. And these are known in the Veda. These are the realms of the Vedic consciousness. If you examine them more closely, more practically, you will see that they, for example, if I take vital realms, you will see immediately that we have sensations which are closer to the nature of the body, the vital force which is operating within the body, electricity, it is exactly that. The power which operates the physical body. Your presentation was on the Svadhisthana. And the Svadhisthana, which is located between navel and the sexual center, is connecting 72,000 nadis, 72 1,000 streams of energy. It operates throughout the body. It manages the whole body. Maybe in the Chinese system, these are the meridians which they are dealing with extensively and intensively. They know about them in different language. But in the Sanskrit, it is these nadis, or streams of electricity within the physicality. The vitality manages physicality. Sensations. Vital is a proper realm of feelings, strong feelings such as fear, jealousy, pride, all these very strong, vital feelings rather. Emotions are higher. Emotions are in the heart, in the next center, mental, vital. They are already painted with the mind. They have already aesthetic sense. These are the emotions. These are not driven impulses by nature of the vitality. And here they are, these three, in the torso, inbuilt into our subtle body. Then when we move to this center, which is the vocal center of expressing one's mind, it is this tongue which is speaking language, word. It is the physical expression of the mind. Physical mind. That's why when we have something like non-stop repeating in the mind, like you got the song, yeah, and song is all the time rolling in your head the whole day, and in the night you're already tired of it, you want to get rid of it, you can't. This is physical mind, torturing you. The vital mind is the dynamic mind, the mind, cosmic mind with its vitality. And this is the third eye of Shiva. And there is Sahasrara, which is above the head, the greater mind, the self of mind, as Sri Aurobindo describes it. So these are the 9 levels, or the 9 rays. In the Veda they are described as Navagva Rishis, Rishis of 9 rays. And once they become 9 rays, once they include all that into this one vision, global, all the levels are perceived by them, they need one more. And then Ayasya Rishi comes to them and he pushes them towards the Trirochanas, and they become Dashagva Rishis, Rishis of 10 rays, and then they are liberated. It's amazing how a simple language. Sri Aurobindo says that about Navagva Rishis, that it is not only on the scale of space we can look at them as the levels of consciousness, but also on the scale of time. 9 months. Does it tell you something, 9 months? Embryo life. The being is built over 9 months. It is not only on the scale of space, it's also on the scale of time the totality is perceived. The 9 is born, and the 10th month is the birth, the push towards new consciousness. It's inbuilt in nature. Nature is just symbolic of that process of unfolding consciousness. And these are the levels which we have to grow into. These are the evolutionary levels already inbuilt in us. We already have them, only we have to grow to that consciousness. Beautiful, no? 3 heavens, 3 spaces in between heaven and earth, and 3 earths. And all of them, notice, they project the same idea of the supermind. First is the unity. The highest, the one is the unifying. The second is diversifying. And the third is diverse. And look at this. Mental, the mind, is more unifying. The vital is more diversifying. And the physical is totally diversified. On the physical plane, there is no repetition of anything. As we were mentioning, there are all the same print of the fingerprints. There are no same leaves on the tree. There are no same pebbles on the shore. You will not find the same replica. Everything is diversified. The physical is the infinity of diversified elements, because there is an infinity behind. But there is vitality in between. The vital is diversifying it and still holding it in oneness. There is an energy which is common to all of us, which we share between ourselves. That electricity which unites this body, holds it functional together. And then there is the mental element in it, which is uniting all these elements into one, as a concept, as a vision, as a form, the mental will, which directs this energy towards the diverse elements. And you can see on every of these levels, mental mind is more unifying, vital mind diversifying, physical mind is the most diversified level. Mental, vital, physical, vital. The same story. Even on the physical level, there is mental, physical, vital, physical, and physical, physical. Mental, physical is more like a mind of the cells, as Mother describes. There is certain mind within the cells, which holds a particular form, holds particular relations between organs. They are recognized. They are clustered together under this mental, physical. And there is energy between this vital, physical, which is making them exchange, which is making them holding together and living together. And there is the most diverse element, is the physical, where the consciousness is not reaching deeply enough. It holds the surface. Now, from this scheme, you can be aware that the physical is nothing but the spiritual enterprise. There is no physical away from the spirit. It is the spiritual phenomenon. So the division of spirit and matter is absolutely irrelevant, illegal, impossible. How can this be that the physical will live away from the spirit if it is the enterprise of the spirit? And even more, Sri Aurobindo somewhere says that this would not even be possible. The mind would not come into existence if the physical would not be there. Look at this, physical mind. It would not come into existence. Mind itself would not be the possible if the physical and vital would not be there already, inbuilt in this vision of manifestation. So 3 times 3, here we see it, 3 times 3. And Sri Aurobindo somewhere says that it is not the best or the final scheme. It should be 7 times 7. It's more elaborate scheme. But he is not going into it because it's too complex and too difficult for our mind to perceive it. Okay, we took 1 hour. Can we make a break and maybe have some nice tea and some...
There was also our restroom right through this door to last week, the restroom.
I hope it is not too much over your head. But one day we have to come to this knowledge also. It can't be that we will never know it, and we will always think that we know something. We have to have this vision at least once. After that, it's matter of preference, how you use it, how it comes to you, how it directs your thoughts. It's a secondary thing.
Perhaps you said this earlier, but which of the 4 Vedas is this Taittiriya Upanishad derived from?
It's from Taittiriya Samhita. Taittiriya Samhita is Krishna Yajurveda. Right. Yes, I was not going into this triple, yes, yet. But it would be, yes. Yes, their relations are very interesting, yes. In the Veda, how we will see how it is.
Maybe if you can, give some example of each one of them. Two examples,
What it means.
so let's say when we say physical mind, how we become aware that this is the result of physical mind or vital mind. So that will clear the concept.
Well, I hope I would be more knowledgeable to give all the examples. But
You try whatever you can.
yes, I can give you
I
some.
can give you mind, physical mind, I know. It's when you are dialing somebody without remembering the phone number, your finger remembers it.
Right.
So mind has a quality of memory, right? But physical mind, you don't have to even remember the number. The body itself does it.
Amazing, yeah.
So when you are typing, you know exactly where the finger goes.
Yeah.
And that's a memory ingrained into the physical.
Right.
So I see that way the physical mind.
Very nice, very nice. Beautiful.
Eh?
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
But physical mind would also be DNA as well. I mean, that's the memory.
Yes, determining everything. DNA is another memory, how this body knows how to grow. Suddenly. Yeah? Nobody was directing it somewhere. No. Right.
That's what is happening inside. That you're right. That's everything going inside. We don't even aware of it.
Yes. But it's interesting that you brought this example, because I was thinking about the same. Today we were talking exactly about the phone. When there was this dialing ring, it was easy to remember by the finger or by the body. I didn't carry in the mind, but my fingers knew how to dial. And if you would ask me what is the number, it was difficult. I had to go to the finger.
You're absolutely right. I try to remember by just finger. It's amazing.
Right.
So what was really interesting when you were at this center, and you said 72,000. Well, in neuroscience, we know that in the navel, 75,000 nerves, which is like
Right.
Yeah, the numbers are so
Close.
close there. Who's one in the middle?
I didn't know
The
that.
area that's so close is really I think the same.
Very interesting.
That's why the navel is just a real powerful place for therapeutic working with the body.
In Chinese, it's a Dantian center here, no? Which is the center of all power, physical power, but it's a vital power, actually.
So there's a Chinese medicine over there that there between the, well, just basically right there, the very root, what happens is there is a circuit that comes up, and it goes to the Dantian on the front, and it comes up, and it goes to the Dantian on the back, creates a loop, and then it runs.
There is a small and bigger loop, two loops. Yes, and they have a very sophisticated knowledge about the body and
Yeah,
prana.
well, it's, when you're kind of dealing with fundamental truths, it's look for what's similar
Very much.
there.
I also thought about this, Dantian, and how it relates to the energy and the flow. Somehow it stays with the energy in their case. They are interested in this energy, physical body kind of set. Indians went farther away. Indian mind traveled a little beyond. They were interested more what is actually beyond the physical. And they traveled into the higher or deeper worlds, which in China was not so important somehow. They were more concerned with the body, health, strength, power, which is, even now, even look at these two civilizations, that is the difference between their spiritualities. The spirituality which came to China came from India, as we know it. First there was Taoism. Tao is the product of Himalayas, and the whole Tao theory, vision, philosophy. And then, of course, Bodhisattva, who came from India, who brought dhyana as Chan or Zen Buddhism. So it came through, again, from India. Yeah. So both of these, of course, Confucius was in India. Confucius, or how do you call it? Confucius in English. Confucius was properly Chinese, and we can see the difference. In his philosophy, it's all family related, and forefathers and the social order, and moral behavior. It's exactly the product of Chinese culture. But everything which is spiritual somehow came from another side over Himalayas. Zoroastrians are also, they are belonging to the same tradition. If I put you these Zoroastrians' gathas, if you listen to their chanting, I bet you would not distinguish between Zoroastrian gathas and Rigvedic chanting. They are the same sound. Yeah, Varuna Mitra, Aryaman Bhaga, all of them, they are Ahura Mazda. Yeah, and there was Indo-Aryan. Indo-Aryan is later. There was first there was Indo-Iranian unity, and Indo-Iranian unity is more, how to say, remote in time. It's more original, and then Indo-Aryan came later.
But back then it was all very fluid. People
Yeah.
move around and influence.
Right, definitely. Aryans, well, unfortunately this term was misused and abused by...
They moved out of the Himalayas across and went westward.
Well, there are several theories and all of them are contradictory. But Sri Aurobindo defines it in a very interesting, better manner. He says, Aryans are those people who are looking for the higher realization, for the divine realization, who are looking for the divine. They are Aryans people. And they are mentioned in the Rig Veda, 5 of them. Yes? And all of them are known. From the point of view of history, we do not know. And I really don't want to go into it, because historically speaking, we do not know where Aryans are coming from. There are theories that they came from the north.
I was wondering, are the Aryans a type of people, like a race, or is it a kind of a human being with a mental outlook?
I think it's more about the quality of the soul, or looking for the realization. It has nothing to do with, of course they are distinguished by colors, because white race is Aryans, and so on. The yellow race is Chinaman or Mongolian man, yes? And black man is there from Africa. But it's all very, very outward look at these things. Aryan actually is noble. We can translate it as a noble man who has the soul, who looks for the higher realization. That's Sri Aurobindo's definition. I would stick to it rather than try to historically prove anything, because it's not possible. Yes? It is good to have your questions. If you have some questions, remarks, you're most welcome, and I will continue in the meanwhile. Yes? Basically, what I wanted to show you today is this vision of the triple worlds, 3 times 3. So in the Sri Aurobindo's terminology, which we have to learn, since we will be learning more and more of Sri Aurobindo, what these mean. These are the levels. The supramental overmind and intuitive mind. These are the 3 rochanas, 3 luminous realms above the Sahasrara chakra. The above, that is intuitive mind. Above the intuitive, the overmental realm, where the Vishnu and all the great beings, great gods are born, as Sri Aurobindo says. And above that, there is a supramental overmind, which is the closest to the overmind. It is when the rays of the sun first deviated from the body. It is that in touch of the supermind, but already not the supermind. The supramental overmind. It is because of this overmind we have a division in time and space. The time and space were created on that border. The gap between the light and light, between the being and being, was created on that level of the supramental overmind. And then there is illumined mind, the Sahasrara chakra, this crown which is opening, that which we know as when Kundalini Shakti rises, it opens the crown and connects us with the higher realms. Higher mind, this is the realm of the third eye, and the mind proper, physical, which is expressed through speech. Then there is mental, vital, and physical, vital, mental, physical, vital, physical, and physical. And these are, we already spoke about, emotional being, our heart center, plexus solaris. Plexus solaris is the place where all energies are being connected to this higher being. If we go beyond it, deeper into it, Mother says, if we dive deep, we go deep down into plexus solaris. It's very sensitive. If you touch yourself, you could feel that it's doom, reacts. It's here when the boxes are hitting. Boxes are trying to hit into plexus solaris to knock you out, yeah? Because it's the energy station in the body, here. And if we dive deep, we come to the place where there is the fire of psychic being. So we behind that center, behind this chakra, deep down within, there is our embodied soul. It is through this center that it operates. All our emotions, all our feelings, which are coming from that center, are influencing our being. And there is sensation, as we spoke about it, the 72,000 nadis in the Svadhisthana. So 3 centers. And the physical. Just now was a beautiful example of the physical, mental, physical. Mother speaks about mental, physical as the mind of the cells. Something which is forming the very body, the very functionality of the body. There is a mentality involved. Somebody asked Sri Aurobindo, how do you know that the mind and the vital are involved in the physical? We don't see it there. We see only the atoms, electrons. We see something, like protons and all the elements. We can measure their speed, their energy, and so on. But where do you see their vital and mental? In microscope, you can't see it. And his answer is very interesting. He says the vital and mental are within the relations between proton and electron. Somebody is holding them together. the energy, that what we call the energy, is a mysterious word which explains nothing. And that is vital, which was determined by the mind to make these clusters in a particular fashion. That's why it evolves, that's why it clusters, that's why it creates elements, that's why elements create molecules, molecules create, come together into clusters, create the organs, organs create the being, the body, which functions, multifunctional body. Where is the mind? There. The mind is from the beginning inbuilt in the relation between electron and proton. It already has everything in mind to build up this being. It's already unfolding into this being. Or consciousness, which is behind that mind. There is a supermind, which is already managing the mind, and behind that supermind there is transcendental Satchitananda, which is constantly managing everything what is here. That's why we are born from Ananda, by Ananda we live, and into Ananda we go. And where is that? It is there, between electron and proton. They come together. When amoeba, first monocellular organism, is born, it is trying to communicate, trying to do something, to move. It has no organs, but everything is already there, inbuilt. The desire to speak, to communicate, the desire to see, there are no eyes yet. The desire to touch, it tries, and slowly it builds up. All these powers, all these faculties of consciousness are growing through that body and become this being with eyes open, with tongue articulating thoughts, articulating spiritual presence, feeling the presence, manifesting it. It was all there within that monocellular organism. And it took millions of years, billions of years, to come to this formation. That now, that mind, which was in between electron and proton, can finally manifest and speak its mind. It has the body finally to do it. The organs, the tongue, the brain, electricity, everything works for it. Unbelievable. What a mysterious creation. And we look at our body as if it is something ordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary in every way. Marvelous, yeah? Look at this divine in this body. He is sitting, looking at itself. And not only that, speaking, listening, understanding, enjoying, aspiring within the body. So this was the picture drawn by Huta. This is my favorite picture. When Huta, there was a disciple of Mother, and she was coming. She was not a painter or an artist, but Mother made her an artist. And the Mother was meditating and gave her a sketch, how to draw the levels of consciousness, what colors they have. And here is this vision of the Mother. On the top you see that supreme persona, supreme being. And then there is unmanifest, asat. Then there is existence, sat. Then there is consciousness. Look at these colors. Consciousness, silver, shining silver color. Then there is bliss. It should be rosy color. It's not visible. Then there is supermind, which is pure gold. She describes it, the experience of the supermind, if you come to that level, it's like liquid gold. It lives, it breathes, it has its own vibration. It's not a static gold, it's living gold. Then there is overmind, many-colored creation. All kinds of colors are mixing up. Clusters of colors. Then there is intuitive mind. That's still Trirochana. Intuitive mind is beyond our reach. It's on that other level. It's still pure light of the Supreme, which is narrowing down to come down to our mental being. And then there is illumined mind. Look, blue color. There is such a big shift from yellow to blue. No transition. And this is our Sahasrara. It's our highest. It's the top of our mind. It's the top of our being. It's our ceiling, as it were. Then there is a higher mind. There is mind. All of them are blue, 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 darker, darker blue. Finally, the vital, which is purple, dark purple, and physical, red. Incredible. Huh? And then finally we go into inconscient grades, darker and darker, darker, until it is totally dark. I want you to pay attention to the shift from the intuitive to illumined mind. This is an important issue, because we always think about intuition as something inbuilt in us. It's not at all so. Intuition has to break through that ceiling. We have the ceiling on the top. In the tarot, in the occultism, it is the axe breaking the roof. The axe breaking the roof and bringing the light. The 20th arcanum is the head receiving the light, opening the Sahasrara and receiving the higher light. When the Sahasrara opens, when the illumined mind opens, like a crown, then the higher mind, the intuition can flood in and penetrate and enter into our mind. And it is of totally different color. And this is the level of intuitive mind, is the level of Indra in the Veda. This Indra with his lightning, he brings the lightning. Vajra is made of that light of the sun. The light of the sun is coming down in a particular action of the lightning, penetrating our darkness and showing us to our mind that everything what we knew is very relative or not even true. These are only symbols of our mind, what we accumulated as knowledge. So this fresh perception of the intuition is of a different color. I'm just speaking to some of you who know Sri Aurobindo, so for them it could be very interesting. Unfortunately, not all of you know about it, but it may also create in you interest to learn about these things. So even if it is not totally known.
I wanted to ask about this mind, overmind, supermind, or illumined mind, all these minds. Normally when people talk about mind, it's like a mental activity, right? The mind. What exactly is this mind?
It's interesting. Today we discussed. Somehow everything comes together. HP gave such an example of beautiful about the physical mind. Now, what is this mind about? Yes, if we look at the mind closer, we will see that the mind is not what we think the mind is. Yeah? We think about the mind that it is a thinking capacity or something. But the mind is much more than simply thinking. And the mind is the capacity of consciousness to hold on to any image of things. I can concentrate my consciousness with the help of this instrument or this faculty of consciousness, which we call mind. I can fix my consciousness upon any level. I can fix it on the mental level, on the vital level of the emotions, sensations, feelings. I can go down, I can fix it on the physical level, feel even physicality, because my consciousness is shifted and held by something which we call mind. That's why there are so many minds. There is supermind, there is overmind, there is intuitive mind, There is higher mind, there is proper mind, there is vital mind, there is physical mind. There is a capacity of consciousness to be held on any of these levels. And that capacity we call mind.
And how does this mind relate with Atma or something like that?
Yes, it relates in direct way. It is the faculty of Atman, of the self. It is because of the self that everything can be perceived in that particular focal point of consciousness. Consciousness can be shifted. Consciousness, we have to learn to shift our consciousness and locate it in different positions and hold onto those. Actually, today we discussed this. There is a beautiful quotation by the mother, how to learn to shift our consciousness. What is consciousness? Consciousness is not mind. Mind is the faculty of consciousness or the instrument of it.
Mother has given a definition of pure mind, that it has power of organizing, assimilation, imagination, creativity, concentration. These are what we are using actually
Right.
at our level in everyday life. That's his function. But I think average humanity thinks brain is the mind. They don't know that this many different faculties of mind,
Right.
gradation of mind.
Is
Yeah.
it possible to experience these levels through meditation for the ordinary man?
I hope so.
I don't mean for people like Sri Aurobindo, but
Well, they were also ordinary people one day, some time ago. And I don't think ordinary and extraordinary people is actually our kind of distinction. We are all the result of this work of consciousness. It's inbuilt in us. We only have to discover it. Yes. Put efforts to it, organize it, learn about philosophy, go deeper into it, look at this, how it doesn't work, what it works, how it is named, what it is done in the literature. We have to do a lot of preparatory work before we even begin our journey.
So coming back to this mind has nothing to do with our body.
It has everything to do with it's.
So if the body goes, then the mind goes too?
If the body goes, the mind has no sense to stay. There is nothing for it to. It will try to rebuild the body. That's it.
So it's not part of the body. It's a separate thing. It just uses the faculties of the brain and all that stuff to influence the body.
It emerged out of the body. If body would not be there, it would never emerge. It is inbuilt within the body.
So what I'm hearing is that consciousness becomes self-aware, then there's physical form, and the interaction between self and non-self that's dual. So consciousness becomes self-aware, becomes dual in singularity. And this awakening that we strive for, this awakening that we're called to, it seems like that's where, as we move up, then consciousness no longer is self-aware because it's singularity, which the beauty of this creation, our humans, is that we can create duality in singularity where it's impossible to create duality in singularity. So what I'm hearing is, are you implying that only happens at the body? That if the body weren't there, then this phenomenon that I'm thinking about would not occur?
For the mind, yes. And when we think about the physical, we think in terms of Advaitic thinking, which is either physical or spiritual. We separated the matter and spirit. And we are so our mind is so in favor of this vision because we were for so long in this paradigm that either physical or spiritual. Spiritual is not physical, sorry. I go into some meditation, to some cloud and sit there and very happily disappear in samadhi. And then I come back to physical. Oh my God, I have so many problems. And now I will have to deal with this. Yeah, diseases, pain, old age, death, everything. So what would I do with that? No? It's all a wrong paradigm. Can you imagine that it is totally misleading paradigm? That the consciousness is emerging from the physical? And there is no other way for us to even imagine it. There is an involution. The consciousness involved itself into those relations between atom and proton, the first tension. And then it's all there in that relation. It knows already what it wants. It wants to cluster with another. It wants to increase the capacity. All the capacities are there already waiting to be unfolded, and they unfold. They build the bodies. They bring the mental, the vital, mental and supramental being into this body, which is already manifesting that consciousness. So how do we speak about this body as something else? We should embrace it as an enterprise of the spirit. There is no spiritual reality beyond the physical reality. And this is a new paradigm. Oh, it's the ancient paradigm. It's the Vedic paradigm, which was once lost. And this is an interesting and important point, how it was lost. And Sri Aurobindo speaks on it. He says that the ideal was so high, so profound, to change this nature, to charge it with the spirit. The idea of sacrifice, of a constant transformation. The spirit has to descend, to come into the body and change it, make it more and more perceptive of the spirit. It was so difficult that there was a split in time, that the humanity was not ready to go that way. So there was a separation on two different paths. India went for preservation of the spirit, Advaita, spirit is everything, Brahman, nature is nothing, nature is not important. You can do either spirit or matter. And the Western paradigm, Chaldean tradition, went for the science, matter, affirmation of the matter, materialistic approach. Chaldean tradition. First alchemists, Kabbalah alchemists came and started to be scientists. They dealt with matter. First it was spiritual, more spiritual, and then became more and more materialistic, experimental. The whole, if you look at the ancient Egypt, it is more oriented towards managing powers of nature. The whole tradition shifted there and started what we know as Western tradition. Now these two went far away. You can see one tradition, Western, managed matter very well, started to do technologies and so on and so forth, very powerful in a society, building a mental structure within social organisms. And India became weakened because India looked for the spirit, held to the spirit, neglected nature, neglected material power. And you know what Vivekananda used to say? I would rather give to every Indian a football than the Bhagavad Gita. They have to become strong in physical. They already know what is the spirit. They held to it very long time. But now they lost the grip over the matter. So they have to come back to the material, which is in the West very powerful. But they lost the touch of the spirit. They don't know what is the spiritual in the West. They want to come back to the spiritual. And now these two are coming back. And this is the sign of Sri Aurobindo. To Chaldean tradition, this is the six-cornered star, and inbuilt within the lotus, the avatar of the Indian tradition, coming back two traditions. Chaldean, which is more towards the matter and neglecting spirit, and Indian, neglecting matter and focused on the spirit. Now if we bring them back together, we will have this Vedic or integral paradigm. And that's what we try to do, to understand. Yes. Yes. And our reveal project of our reveal was created for this particular purpose, how to become conscious in action. And this is the most difficult part. We can't be conscious in action because, look, we developed the whole technology how to go and to become conscious without action. So we become totally relaxed, we close our eyes, we go into meditation, we have to become immobile, totally immobile, even stop breathing in order to go deeper inside. But how can we be active and perceptive at the same time? The moment I start moving, I lose the connection. The moment my hands move, my feet move, my tongue rolls, my thought process is involved, I'm losing the perception of the inner being. So how to bring them back together? That's the difficulty Sri Aurobindo spoke about, that Vedic rishis saw the difficulty. They couldn't bring this to humanity. Humanity was not ready for this difficult exercise, to be perceptive and active simultaneously, to be outwardly active and inwardly perceptive. We can be either or. We can't be both.
But don't we talk about these people who have achieved this bliss, Satchidananda, and then still come back as ordinary people serving humanity, like the Buddha and Ramana Maharshi and all these. They were,
Of course,
they reached some kind of a awakening or enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. But then they were able to keep that within themselves all the time. It wasn't just a flash in the pan. It was there. It became part of their being or their life.
right.
I mean, I've never met any of these people, but I've read about it. That's what they did.
Yes, but if you take Ramana Maharshi, for example, who lived at the same time as Sri Aurobindo, by the way, all of them, those great beings, left their bodies in 1950 for some reason. It's quite difficult to understand why, as if they were connected in some way. And they lived 80 kilometers away, Sri Aurobindo Ashram, and many of you went to Tiruvannamalai, Arunachalam, and so on. It's a beautiful place, very peaceful, very profound. You can sit there in such a peace, Ramana Maharshi's place. And still, it is an Advaitic vision. Advaitic in the sense that Ramana Maharshi didn't believe that body can be changed. And somebody asked him, there is a Sri Aurobindo nearby, and he speaks about conquering disease and death and sleep. He said, conquering in the body, He said, what? Body is the disease. It's his vision. The body is not his concern. His concern is the spirit. He was there in the spirit. Body was there because it was still there. It was still hanging around. But his total overwhelming concentration on the spirit was everything for him. And
Were most of those people that way when you reach a certain point in this?
Isn't that why the mother really supported having exercise, sport,
right.
activities all around the ashram, not just to condition and have a fit body, a fit instrument figure, but to teach them how to keep this connection while in activity.
But is that something she practiced, exercise daily?
She was a tennis player until she was like 70 or something.
70, here she was 90.
And everyone at the ashram was engaged in activities, sports,
And not, yeah, even the girls were in shorts running, boxing, girls boxing. So it's something.
Part of the tradition, maybe they didn't box and play tennis, but they would do regular, pranayama and yoga, asanas, this, that, and the other, physical, keeping the body in shape. Wasn't that part of the system anyway?
Yeah, well, it's a big discussion of feminine and masculine nature, and how Indian kind of Advaitic tradition viewed a female beautiful, what it was meant for them, what Mother changed totally the paradigm. Yes, she just changed that view on sexes and on the quality of the body. She was looking into the future, how to bring this.
But the Ashtanga yoga has nothing to do with different sexes.
Yeah, we are kind of, yes, Ashtanga yoga is, or any other Hatha yoga exercises and pranayama and the whole Yoga Sutras, and of course it's very useful, but it has something in mind. Yoga Sutras are built only to build overwhelming concentration of the mind, dharana, then you move into dhyana, yes, and then you move into samadhi, and that's it. That's the top. Samadhi? No, it's nothing. No, not even approximate. It's all about overwhelming concentration and becoming the object of your knowledge. So when you go into samadhi, you disappear. So there is no distinction between singularity, where there is no distinction between you and the object which you know. That's how you know, knowledge by identity. This is the purpose of the yoga, of Yoga Sutras at least. I'm not speaking about Hatha yoga. Yeah? Hatha yoga is a part of it.
The ultimate.
But even the approach that the mother recommended for meditation was very different. It wasn't that you cruise into a room for an hour or two and go into this meditative state, but she was saying ideally what we would do is do short 15-minute meditations throughout the day in between activities, so that you again, what you're trying to do is establish that connection between activity and that inner state.
Mm.
Spirit. Yes.
You must integrate. And
Very different approach than many of the other.
yeah, and also in the same time in Auroville there was a vision that you must take any activity, as she says. Auroville is for those who want to do karma yoga. You have to take activity and do it as yoga. You do activity for the sake of your self-discovery. You're not doing activity for anything else. You will have to engage differently with activity. And this is something how to bring back these two, yeah? The inner perception and the outer activity.
Living within, without.
Yes. Simultaneously.
So that's like like you said, karma yoga.
Yes, living within and without. So, very nice. So we are coming to the end of our time, and I hope we have from 4 to 6, yeah? So basically that's it, what I wanted to inform you with and to think about, and especially this connection to the ancient literature, to the vision of the Veda. This vision, this table which I gave to you of the 3 times 3 is actually the same vision is in occultism. Somebody, if one of you studied, I do not know, Kabbalah, this is Kabbalistic vision. This is the vision of the mother. Mother brought this Kabbalistic vision to Sri Aurobindo. She speaks this language of mental mind, vital mind, physical mind. It is her language. It's not the language of the Veda. But you discover this in the Veda. And then you know that there was once pre-Chaldean, pre-Vedic tradition common for both. Then they split into 2. One went to the west, other went to the east. Now these 2 streams have to come back again. And that is what integral yoga represents. Yeah, back back into the world with a spiritual understanding of the world, not just the world, without it. All right, that is...
Blair from
yes?
America. So this idea of everything being called mind after a while, human mind, overmind, supermind, was when I first dove into integral yoga confusing. Why is the mind being used? Because we do think of the mind as being logical, rational, linear, but as we get into the higher mind, and especially the illumined mind, this becomes discrimination, but not discrimination as we think about it from a mind perspective, but discrimination from the spiritual light now coming in, and it's not a mental process, even though it's got the word mind after it. So this, and you might want to speak about the intuitive mind, even though it's got mind, it's not, it's a spiritual light that's coming into this level.
But the word that
It does, absolutely.
All right. Okay, oh, it's very nice. This word is not throwing me away anymore, but it's very nice of you that you explained this. Yes, very good. So it's not the same mind, yes? It's a higher mind, intuitive mind. All right, no. Yeah, it was not easy reading. Yeah, I know. Can you speak louder because others are here? So
It's the laws of Manu.
and we are coming a little.
Very intense laws, very strict laws.
Yeah,
But then he very coolly he said, no, this is not our Manu, this is some other Manu.
it's not our Manu. It's some other Manu came.
Some other Manu.
You know what is Manu in the Veda? A Manu in the Veda is the mental being. And Rishi, I think it's Vamadeva, explains, Aham Manur Abhavam Suryasya. I became Manu, I became the sun. Manu is the mental formation, the power of the mind, of the highest mind, of the supermind. This is Manu. And that Manu Smriti is something else altogether. I agree with the reference of your friend, but it is another Manu. It's not that one.
So, question of clarification. Where up here do you see the psychic being coming in?
It's a tough question, huh?
When soul?
You have this bliss being. You see bliss? This is the projection of that bliss being. It's a spark of that bliss being which is within us. It is that love which plunged into the darkness of inconscient, and now it is rising back. It is carrying everything forward. It is bringing all the energies of the transcendental into this darkness and builds more and more conscious being here, pushing it evolutionary upward. It's not visible here. It is actually, I would say something else on it, but I don't dare because it's too sophisticated. The psychic being, the very individual supreme which is emerging here, is actually the property of the Purushottama, which is that supreme beyond. He wanted to be many, that beyond being and non-being, that one, what you call singularity concept, wanted to become many. And he became many, with the help of all these levels of consciousness. He involved himself into total inconscient, and from there he evolved gradually. And that's how we became many. That was also the topic of our previous presentation, of involution, which took place. So the psychic being is that mystery, evolving supreme. We do not know what it is yet, but it is a great adventure. We all have that spark in us, and we must discover it, at least, maybe not in this life, but in the next few lives. All right, I will stop at this, and let us make a minute of silence, if you don't mind.